Hi guys, I thought I'd continue my series on poking fun at the Rapture failure of 2025. Now, apparently there was some asteroid that was supposed to be passing very close to the Earth, and many people took this to be the fulfillment of the wormwood as described in the book of Revelation. The problem with this, of course, is that most Christians are not even familiar with the literary genre, Jewish genre, of apocalyptic language. Many people think that the Bible was somehow written to us, living 2,000 years after the cross. The Bible was not written to us. The Bible was written to them. That is, there are parts of the Bible written to the ancient Hebrews living under the Old Covenant. There are parts of it written to the first century Jewish believers living after the cross. And then there are parts of it written to the first century Gentile believers living after the cross. So when we read the scriptures, we need to put audience relevance into account and not apply our modern day thinking. Now, the first century Jews would understand what this was all about. Apocalyptic language is a language used in the Bible to describe when God intervenes and judges in the affairs of men and nations. It is highly symbolic, cosmological language that depicts grandiose events of stars being fall from the sky and darkness and all this grandiose language. A good example of this, of course, is Psalms 18, which is a psalm describing God's intervention in delivering David from his enemies and from King Saul. When you get down to around verse 7 and onwards, you start to hear about God's intervention, where the heavens will be shaken and the foundations of the oceans will be revealed and there'll be darkness and all these grandiose events. Now, when we read the actual events of how David was spared from King Saul, he played like he was a madman, right? There was no literal, physical manifestation of any of those things in the deliverance of David. And the Jews understood this. Jesus used this language in his ministry all the time, and it is all over the book of Revelation. In fact, when Jesus spoke to the high priest and said that they would see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, and the priest rent his garment, he knew what that meant. The clouds are symbolic of God's judgment against a nation. It was used to describe the destruction of Babylon, Nineveh, and other nations. None of those had physical cosmological events happening. They were destroyed by armies, conquering forces. So again, Christians don't seem to understand that this highly symbolic language is not meant to be taken literally. It's depicting God's judgment and intervention into the lives of men. I've got a great article on this. I'll post it in the description. I think there's a very good video on it as well. I'll post that as well. If you don't believe me, just read Psalms 18 and tell me if any of that literally happened in the physical world to deliver David. God bless everyone. Take care.